What's going on, everybody? I'm going to teach you just a few little pro tips on turning your bases into something like this very quickly and very easily using the Ghost Dry Brush. Number two, we're still working on shipping the Kickstarter, but they'll be available on eBay, so hopefully you'll pick them up when you see them. And hopefully everybody in the comments who's using them can share their experience. But any dry brush will work, but this one is the one we'll be using. I just want to share a few little things. This base, or both of these bases, including the Gorilla here, he's still a work in progress, but they are just cork, and I use this product here from Vallejo, which is the Black Lava Asphalt. Thinned with some water, spread over the cork. Try to make it look less like cork that's stacked up. You know, kind of blur the edges of the cork a little bit and create a little bit more of a rocky texture. So this one here, we're going to have this giant for Reaper Bones on top of it. And these will be ice snow bases, so there'll be more to it. But I just want to show you how to rough in a nice, quick stone effect. Now, before we start, I want to tell you, light blue is a good way. This is Frostbite from P3. A light blue is actually a really nice way to create and dry brush your stones instead of, say, a light gray color that you may use. But don't think of it as simple as just, you know, you're just dry brushing gray over black. Or sometimes people will do something like a medium gray and then a lighter gray and then a white, you know, to build it up. But we're going to cut all that out and just make this real quick, real easy. And here we go. So another little tip, the first color I like to dry brush is a non-blue. So I know it's going to be blue or a blue stone color, but rocks have other colors in them. So a just quick, fast, easy way to do this is let your first dry brush be a color. So in this case, I got two different greens. I got Thrall Flesh, kind of greenish yellows. Ogryn Camo or Slaanesh Gray would all be good choices. But we're going to be using this Thrall Flesh because that's what I did on these other ones, and this is, you know, for an army. But if you're doing this for like a one-off character, you know, experiment. And a little tip on this, I would say stick in the pastel range, right? This is kind of a pastel gray purple. This is kind of a pastel green gray. If you kind of think, does this color belong on an Easter decoration, it's probably going to make a pretty good color to dry brush a rock with. So we'll just start off with Thrall Flesh, and I'm going straight over black primer. I'm not going to build this up with anything other than dry brushing two colors. Now later I will add some washes into some of these recesses and some maybe browns or blues or greens to further differentiate colors in the rocks. But this is, I mean, as simple as it gets, using your new dry brush, easy, fast, and it looks pretty darn good with no other effort. So we're going to start with Thrall Flesh from P3, but any green gray would work. Black primer, and it's a heavily textured. You could have like a sand texture or whatever. But here we go. So number two, Ghost Dry Brush. I'm going to load the paint up. I didn't mean to get it right there, but oh well. So usually when I dry brush, I dab like a pool, and then I work away from the pool to start removing it. Now I can go back here if I want to get more in, but I'm going to work away. I'm just using a piece of cardboard, which everybody should be able to find. You could even cut up the boxes your GW models come in, or any of your other models. And I'm just going to make sure I really load this brush. These soft bristle dry brushes can hold a lot of paint. So let's really load it up. And we're going to go from here. So you could test it on your finger. That actually is maybe a little heavy, but it's fine. So this first color, we don't mind covering a lot of the black because we want to build in this kind of green color into the rock. And then we're going to highlight this with the light blue color to give it more of a traditional, kind of gray stone that you might expect. And you can maybe hear it or see it. I'm really scrubbing. Can you hear that? I'll hold it right up to the microphone off camera. Hopefully you could hear that. I'm really scrubbing this on because I want not only to get the raised areas, but I want some of this kind of green in the shadows. And it's a subtle effect, but I think it helps. It's like what I said in the beginning. It's like a pro tip, but it's really not like it's hard to do or anything. It's just something to think about. Basically, you want to add a little extra color into your stones when you're dry brushing them. Don't just go black, dark blue, medium blue, light blue, or black, gray, light gray, white. You want to add some colors in, because when there's colors in the shadows, it just makes things look a little more interesting. They're just a little more fun to look at when you can find a little hint of color here and there. And you probably can't even see, this was done the same way, so it's significantly gray-blue, but it's partially my camera's fault, but if you were looking at this, you might catch hints of this kind of green color, golden green, and it might give it the effect maybe sunlight is hitting that area, or it's just discoloration in the rock, or maybe some rainwater pooled up, or some snow. So we'll just keep doing it. Don't be afraid. There's really no way to ruin this step here at all, unless you just blatantly paint the whole rock green. But you could go heavier than I'm doing right now. You could actually be doing more green than I'm going to probably do. But just for the speed of the video, we're going to just do what we think is the bare minimum. And you could do other colors, right? I could then take in, just pretend for a second, I had that purple color I showed you. Maybe just this big flat rock on the top is got a little bit of purple, or maybe I took a orange and just hit maybe this little edge here because some dirt collected there. Just things like that. Just don't be afraid to add a little bit of extra interest into your dry brushed stone textures. This is not a delicate process. This is what these brushes are perfect for. You can see, even though I'm beating the heck out of it right now, and it's still holding a very nice shape. Hopefully you're experiencing the same. I'm really scrubbing it. This was designed with this in mind. I want you to feel comfortable really scrubbing in the paint. The size and technique of this, you're not going to want to do this right next to a model's flesh tone that you just finished blending, or whatever. But in the beginning here, these bases, blocking in colors on models, this is a beautiful, easy process. So there it is. It's kind of this green color. Just because, even though it doesn't matter, I'm going to hit the bottom where it's just black. Just in case somebody ever tips the model upside down and looks. I just want to make sure the kind of the bottom cork that's hanging over the lip of the base, has a little bit of... Actually, there, it looks like I missed it, and you can see a little bit of cork showing, so we'll touch that up with some black paint later. So there we go. And then let's just for, hopefully it shows up, I'm just going to put a little bit of extra green right here on this top edge. So you can see I put it a little heavier right here. So, right? Now, another fun thing about dry brushing with these dry brushes, a lot of this paint and pigment has been removed from this brush. So although you're going to want to wash it when you're done, you don't have to wash it right now. Because if you wash it right now, this brush is going to be damp, and you're going to get this kind of overbrush, wet brush, streaky kind of vibe, which isn't exactly what we want when we're thinking maybe a dry stone texture. But it is a tool you could play around with and get some cool effects. P3 Frost Bite Blue. You can see it's a light blue. I'm pretty sure I dry brushed some of it on this gorilla if you watched that other video. And we're going to do the same thing. And I'm going to just mix it right on top of where this green was right on the cardboard. Anytime it mixes, that's fine. We're okay with that. But I'm going to rub it off maybe a little bit more aggressively. So this is almost going to create, let's see if we can show you that real quick. So right there, you're getting a little lighter. Because they're mixing the green that's on the cardboard with the new blue, it's going to get a kind of a natural blending effect. Whether or not we want that, if you don't want it, just move on to a different part of the cardboard. So this would be a little, there we go, that's a little more correct. So you can see it's starting to turn kind of gray-blue right away. But it's maybe a little hard to see, but you can still get a glimpse of this kind of green in the shadows. It kind of warms up the shadows. And a lot of times in fine art, if something has like a cool light on it, you'll give it warm shadows, or vice versa. If it has a warm light, you'll give it cool shadows. Like if you were lit by the orange sun, you might have maybe more blues or purples in your shadows, just to get that contrast of temperature, color temperature. And we're just going to keep working this in the same way and just build it up to however much blue we want. So and you can tell I'm really scrubbing it. One thing that's, I put that Vallejo texture paint over all this cork, so it's hopefully not going to break off and expose unprimed cork underneath. But you can tell we're getting closer to this here. Now this one I think I overbrushed the blue a little heavier, but we'll work it up a bit, so it's going to be closer. But even right there, that's a pretty interesting looking rock texture and base. Like you got these greens, you got these blues up here. I mean, you're already done, right? But we're going to keep going because we want to try to match the base of the monkey, and this one I already did. And I have about 9 of these bases I got to do, but I'm just going to do them one at a time here. So I wanted to do this one separate too so I could show all the backers on the Kickstarter, plus all the subscribers on YouTube. And so awesome, we actually hit over 2,000 subscribers recently. So things are getting going here on YouTube. Not bad. So hopefully you don't mind too much that there's possibly ads showing up on your videos now, but we have reached monetization. So that's very exciting for me, and hopefully not terribly annoying for the viewer. But there we go. Right there, you could stop. Great base. Put your Barbarian on it. Put your Gaslands car on it. Let's see what a Gaslands car looks like riding on this. Boom, look at that. Little display. He's cruising right there. So it's already a pretty good looking rock formation base, but we're going to get some more blue and keep building it up. This P3 paint's getting a little chunky in here, but with a little shake we can get some more out. Now this time most of the green should be out of the brush, and I'm going to try to avoid mixing it on the green area of the cardboard. So I want to get a little more blue. And I'm really doing a scrubbing motion. I'm going hard back and forth. Sometimes lightening it up around the edges that might actually be a little more fragile just because they are cork. But on this flat part, I'm really scrubbing it in and just building up this kind of blue paint. If you get, comfortable and better at it, you could put maybe leave some more paint in your brush. I have quite a bit more in here right now, and you could just do a lighter touch, pulling it over the edges, and that'll give you kind of that nice highlight. Where that blue is more opaque, it'll look more closer to white because this is a pretty light blue. And that's it. We're just going to keep doing this. I was hoping in just a few strokes we could get it looking like the other one, but I just broke it. Oh man. Alright, I knew it was fragile, but so I'm going to have to fix that part. But so there you go. I mean, we got pretty cool rock bases. I'll add a little bit more blue dry brush to this to get it looking more like that, and then I'll put some washes, some snow effects, and various other little plant life and things just to make this pretty interesting. But I hope you enjoyed this as a simple, easy dry brushing stone base technique video. Hopefully you give it a try. This will work over any kind of sand, any kind of these Vallejo textures, earth texture type paint. They're all very nice. You could do this on like furs. It's kind of like when I did this gorilla. Part of it was I started with like this kind of blues and purples. You can see in purples in the shadows, and kind of built up this off-white color. And I'm still going to go more on him. I just haven't got to it yet. But so that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Dry brushing, mixing some colors into your dry brush phases to add more interest. And thank you so much for watching. If this is your second time watching one of my videos, hit the subscribe button. You've already watched 2. You might as well subscribe. It's free. And definitely, please hit the like button. And if you have anything else you want me to do as far as a dry brush tutorial, we're trying to, I'm trying to show you some of the dry brushing abilities of these new brushes. Let me know what you want to see dry brushed, and before I wait too long, I'll go ahead and rinse this off in just some water and maybe a little bit of brush soap or dish soap if I can't get all the paint out. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Take care.